FlossTube, welcome back to my channel. My name is Robin and this is my channel, Lady Robins. Welcome. It is April 23rd. I am happy to be back with you. If you are a new friend and subscriber, welcome to my channel. I welcome you all. I hope you're ready to hear about cross stitching because that's what we're going to talk about, my favorite hobby. If you're a returning friend and subscriber, welcome back. I'm just as happy to see you. If you haven't subscribed to my channel before, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, like, comment, do all those things, and let's start talking about stitching, shall we? I've got a finished object. I almost said fully finished. That's not true. I have a finished object. I completed stitching on one piece, and I was able to touch way more whips than my last floss tube. And I have a book club to talk about in my local area. So if you're local to me, I live just south of Seattle in Kent, Washington. I've got a book club for you. I just went to it last night, so we can talk about books a little bit as well. So welcome, grab your beverage. I've got mine, and you guys, I have a new mug. I have one of the mugs I told you about that I picked up on my trip over to Europe. I've got one of them to share with you. So I have in my new mug, this is Bruges with just that wonderful windmill and the buildings, and you guys, Bruges was so much fun. When I was over there, if you want to see pictures of Bruges, go back a FlossTube. I've got some video or some pictures tacked onto the end of my last FlossTube. But here we are in Bruges. I just have a cold beverage. I don't even have coffee right now. I've already had coffee, you probably can tell. So sit back, grab your stitching. Let's have a little stitchy chat together, and yeah, let's do the thing. Good stuff. Okay, so I have a finished object. This thing I have been stitching forever, you guys. It's just been languishing. It's finally done, and the reason it's done is because I actually edited what I was going to stitch. So what am I talking about? I finished Little Women by the Stitching Book Club. So here is what it looks like finished. You'll notice that mine is slightly different. I was kind of drunk with power, as Janine of the Blue Flower says, and I made a command decision that I did not need that border. And so I stitched, the house and the needle and thread, and of course the inkwell and all the girls' names. And I decided once I hit this point, I looked at that border and I thought, holy cow, I'm not done. I thought I was done. Way back in the day when this was released, this was like part 4. And I had the cover print out of part 3 in my stitching bag forever and ever and ever. And I was like, I should go back and make sure I've got, everything printed out from part 4. I printed out the cover sheet and then realized, holy cow, there's like a whole bunch of, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful border. But I also decided that I have so many things that I want to stitch that I didn't want to spend time adding a border. I like it the way it is. I think it's finished. I think it's complete. And so now I've got one more thing to frame, and I definitely want to put it back on the wall here. I want to add kind of literary stitches back there. So I've got that ready to go. Frankenstein I finished last year. That's still languishing in the under the bed to be fully finished box. So I have 2 things that I need to get put back on that wall. So anyway, that's my that's my fully finished object, or my finished object, hopefully to be turned into a fully finished object soon. This is going to be a fun summer. My husband, I don't know if I told you, he has decided that after almost 36 years working, we call it the big B, working for Boeing, he's going to retire. And he's going to retire on the 1st of July. So we are going to have the summer together. I am so excited. I am so excited. I'm so excited. His division in Boeing, for whatever reason, they're selling it. They're selling it off to an outside vendor. And he's decided he's just too old to start with a new group and figure out the new ropes and the new, company culture. And he's just like, I've done that. I've done that over and over again with my career at Boeing, transferring groups, transferring projects. And he's like, I don't have another transfer in me. And I'm like, that's okay. That's great. Because you know what that means? He's going to make me more frames. And we're going to have a great time together. I'm looking forward to him just having the opportunity to decompress and be able to just kind of move from one thing to another without trying to figure out how am I going to get this thing done around the context of working 40 hours a week. So my summer is going to be filled with good things with my husband, and I'm very excited for that new chapter in our life. So there you go. Fully finished object, or soon to be a fully finished object, because my husband is retiring and can make me more frames. That sounded very self-centered. That's really not, that's not the whole thing, right? I'm looking forward to him being able to explore the next chapter in his life and our life together. So, okay, so there we go. Enough of that. All right. A couple of things I wanted to kind of shout out from the comments on my last video. I had 3 comments that I wanted to acknowledge. The first is Tracy. Thank you. Thank you for telling me to go look at Mykonos Meadows, because you were right. I had missed some blue stitches on one of the motifs. You were 100% correct. I filled those in. So because of you, I will not wander off with undone stitches on that project. So thank you. Eagle eyes. I appreciate that a lot. And then I had a couple of you talk about books. Kelly Hale talked about a book called Reconnected by Carlos Whitaker. It's on my holds list at the library. So based on your recommendation, there's actually two folks that talked about that book. Based on that, I want to read it. If you wanted to read it, I'm going to read it. And then Andrea talked about how she loved reading Agatha Raisin, and back before they actually called those books cozy mysteries. And I have read a few Agatha Raisins, and Agatha is a kick in the pants. So there you go. If you're looking for a couple of books to read this summer, let's try them out. Read a book. The main character isn't named Agatha Raisin, and I should have written down the author and I didn't. But if you Google Agatha Raisin, it'll come up. I assure you, it will come up. And then Reconnected by Carlos Whitaker. Apparently, we're just going to talk about books right at the start, and then we'll jump into stitching. I just read I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. This is a new book club at a bookstore in Burien, Washington, at Page 2 Books. They are reading a banned book every month. Last night was their first meeting, and so I went with my neighbor. We had a great time, and this is an amazing book. If you haven't read it, I had not read it. I knew it was, an autobiography of the author Maya Angelou. I know nothing about her in terms of, you know, growing up in her childhood and all the things that she experienced. So I was definitely, you know, on board for this. I read it and I listened to the audiobook, and Maya reads the audiobook, and she passed in 2014. So it was just like, you know, oh, she's, you know, she's still here in spirit with us. It was a very comforting listen. Once I kind of tuned into her cadence, is not the Pacific Northwest cadence. Her cadence is very different. And so it took me a second time listening to it. I stopped listening to it, then I started reading it, and then I'm like, I'm never gonna get it finished. I gotta go back to the audiobook. The second time I started listening to it, I was kind of more in tune to her cadence and enjoyed it better when I started the audiobook up again. So anyway, there we go. There's books. Okay, stitching. Sorry, I got, you know, ooh, squirrel, right? I have been working on my magazine monthly cross stitch challenge for May. I worked on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I worked on 7 pieces so far, and I still have 2 more to go to complete my acrostic. And one of them was Little Women, so that's handled. And then what else? Mykonos Meadows, which we've talked about, and I've got that on my acrostic twice, and so I have started working on my next set of 200 stitches, so I will complete the second time it's on my acrostic. So there I am on Mykonos Meadows, and that's what the finished piece will look like. Oh, and quick shout out, Krista West, who is Avlea Folk Embroidery. She just posted a new FlossTube earlier this week, which I watched. It was fantastic. I would highly recommend checking out Avlea's FlossTube. I think it's under Avlea Folk Embroidery. I could be wrong. It might be under Krista West, but either way, again, go into YouTube, either search Avlea Folk Embroidery or Krista West. You'll find it. Her FlossTube was just full of eye candy and wonderful stories, and I was there for all of it. She is delightful. Okay, so little more work on Mykonos Meadows. And I just bought the whole kit. I love the ground cloth. It's 4 DMCs. Couldn't be easier. Comes with the needle. The fabric is nicely serged. Her kits are really cool. So that was the second thing that I worked on for my acrostic. I also dusted off. Yay! I finally got back to it. My Owl Forest Hyperboria. It has been a minute since I worked on this, and I just love working on it. I love, again, I bought the kit. Apparently I like kits. I love the blue fabric that it's being stitched on. It came with all the wonderful Owl Forest flosses, and so I've been working on, I think it's a bobcat. I don't know what you guys think, but I think it's a bobcat. So when I picked it up, I had like the first couple of rows of the top of his back, and so I've done all of that. I'm just starting. You can see, you know, that's where the 2 back legs will branch off the body. So I am just having a blast working on that. Although I do have to admit, before you tell me, I have an oops. There should be no stitch here to complete that pyramid, and I stitched it. So I have to do a little unstitching so that that is correct. But I spotted it this time. Normally you guys have to tell me, but it's just so much fun. I'm hoping that my acrostic next month for June will have something that I can use for a prompt to get this back in the rotation again for next month, because I'd like to finish off that bobcat next month, because if I do that, then I've got 2 of the 3 big anchor animals done, and then I've got all sorts of fun little stitching down here. Like here's a couple of seals, which I can't wait to stitch, you know, and a lighthouse, and of course some beautiful flowers. It's just glorious. I love this thing. So anyway, that is where I got to on Hyperboria by Owl Forest Embroidery. So there we are in that. All right, what else did I stitch on? Oh, I stitched on Beach Rat. Want to see where I'm at on Beach Rat? I can't wait to show you. I am feeling like this is going to be a finish soon. Like at least by the end of June, if not before. So Beach Rat by the Artsy Housewife. There's our glorious Beach Rat. And I'm stitching this on 32 count vintage country mocha, all the called for flosses. She's got it charted in some overdyes and some DMC. I pulled the overdyes that I had in my stash. If I didn't have it, then I just subbed the DMC. It's working great. So here is where I'm at on our beautiful Beach Rat. So when I picked this up, I was just working on the little vine, I guess the plant, the flowers, the leaves. And so I pull that all the way across, and so I just have a T to put in and then another branch of leaves, and then it's done. Oh, don't look at that. That was I tried it and I didn't like it, and so I had a huge piece of fabric, so I just turned it over and started stitching Beach Rat on it. But this is what did I say? I think I already told you, 32 count vintage country mocha. So it looks great on that. I am definitely gonna finish that by the end of June. Definitely. So that's where I've got to on the Beach Rat. And then the next thing I stitched on was by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread is the name of her company. And I am working on Autumn Splendor. And so here we are. This is what it looks like. And it's not going to look like much, but I finished one portion of the kind of the, I don't know, what do you call it? I don't know, almost like the frame or the wallpaper. I look at it and I think, oh, this is like wallpaper. So I have finished all of these little stripes along the bottom here. None of that stuff was done when I picked it up. My goal on the Magazine Monthly Challenge on the acrostic is 200 stitches on each piece I picked up. So while it doesn't look like a whole heck of a lot, that is over 200 stitches. And I am doing this 1/2, and this is on a 36 count. I think it's, what is it? Antique ivory. Antique ivory. And this is a great big huge piece of fabric. I don't need much. And so now, next time I pick this guy up, I get to start the interior, which is, you know, the crow and the pumpkins and that glorious urn. So this is also on its way towards a finish. I had joined the Melody Watkins, who's the Soulful Stitcher, her Facebook, I can't remember the name of it. Something about whip. Anyway, you have to put in something like 10 whips and finish at least half of them to be in the drawing for prizes at the end of the year. And this is on my list of things that I want to finish. And in fact, the Little Women was also on that board, so I have now completed 4 of the 12. I think I uploaded 12. 4 of the 12 that that I put on my album. So with Autumn Splendor and Beach Rat, both really close to a finish, then I'll be up to 6. So I don't really care about prizes. I have so much stuff. I don't need more stuff. So I just like the challenge. I just like being challenged. I like setting a goal and then working towards that goal. That, you know, that does it for me. So anyway, I am feeling good about the fact that I have knocked 4 things off of my whip list. And because of that, I now have only 14 whips. I really want to end the year with 10 or less. However, we'll see, because there's a number of things that I want to start. I don't want to start too many things, but I spotted something in the latest issue of Just Cross Stitch that I want to start in June. So I'll be back up to 15 before we know it. Okay, the next thing that I stitched on was something I haven't stitched on, I don't think yet this year. I've got a little Mill Hill kit, and this is also on my Year of Whips. That's what it's called, Year of Whips. That's the Facebook group. And it's closed right now. She usually opens it up for new members in December. But anyway, this is called Gnome with Bells. Isn't he cute? So I am working on my little Mill Hill kit, and I'm working on his crazy hat right now. I just think it's adorable. So you know, again, it's a kit. It's got all the flosses, and the little beads are in here. So it's not gonna be finished quickly. You know, I'm just amazed at people that are like, oh yeah, I picked up a Mill Hill and I knocked it out in 3 nights. I'm like, 3 nights? That's not me. It takes me forever. Part of it is I'm kind of fussy about my back, and so I don't drag things a long way. So I'm, you know, trying to fish things underneath. But that's just me. But I am thoroughly enjoying stitching this kit. And again, he couldn't be cuter, right? Look at that guy. He just couldn't be cuter. So, making some progress on my Mill Hill kit. All right, that's what I stitched on. I've been having a good time. I think last time I told you I was all about the books, and haven't didn't really lose my stitching bug, but I think I've found it again. Yeah, but I'm figuring out how to juggle stitching and reading. So that feels good. That feels good to have both of those things going at the same time. Okay, so what are my plans? Oh, and WhipGo. My May calls for WhipGo are Stitch on a Seasonal Piece, and I'm counting Autumn Splendor as a completion for that. And then the other one that was called was Stitch on a Club Kit. And I've got a couple of club kits that I haven't touched much this year. One is called Friendship Blooms, and that is from the Circle of Friends Club by Silver Needle. So I think I'll put a few stitches in on that so that I can cross that one off, because that one's not getting enough love definitely need to figure out how to get that into the rotation a little bit more. I did have just a little teeny tiny bit of haul. So I'll show you what I picked up. I did pick up the latest issue of Just Cross Stitch, and let me show you what I want to start. Okay, I want to start this long skinny piece by October Fiber Arts, the Freedom Ring. I just think that's adorable. So I am going to start that probably on the 1st of June and hope to have it stitched by the end of July. We'll see. We'll see. So if you'd like to start Freedom Rings and you've got the latest copy of Just Cross Stitch, let me know in the comments. I'm just going to pull everything from stash. I'm not going to run out and buy anything special. I'm just going to use what I have. And, you know, if I've got the, I don't know if it's got over-dyed. What is it? Yeah, it's charted with weeks and also DMC. I'll probably just use the DMC. Because I've got the DMCs. I know I have a full set of DMCs. And then I thought there's so many times, you know, you finish a piece and you've got this really long piece of fabric left over. I'm sure I've got something left over that I can put this on. And it's long, you know, it's 29 inches high by 128 inches long. So, you know, it's long and skinny, but it, you know, it looks adorable. So I am going to give myself a start on that. Okay. And then the other things that I picked up, I had pre-ordered a few things through my local needlework shop, Threadneedle Street in Issaquah, Washington. I know Denise doesn't watch, but hi Denise anyway. she's the owner. And so I finally got up there to pick up my pre-orders, and everybody's probably started and finished this, but I finally got my copy from the Blue Flower of Pigeon and Puddle, which couldn't be cuter. I also picked up Robin Pickens' Madras Beanstalk, which is, there's something about those colors. I love that. And then I also picked up, I'd already picked up the Nativity Tiny Town, but I picked up the frill. Is that what they call that? Yeah, the Nativity Frill by Heart and Hand at Threadneedle Street. And then the last thing, this I hadn't pre-ordered, but it was just sitting there waiting for me, the latest Prairie Schooler Santa. He's adorable. So that's what I picked up at Threadneedle Street, and can't wait to stitch those also. And then I did lose my mind one afternoon. I should not be allowed to get on the computer, but Caterpillar Cross Stitch said they had a couple extra club boxes for sale. I bought it. I bought one. It's adorable. So I got the box, and it's kind of a summer themed stitch. How could I leave this behind? Yeah, it's called Coastal Peaks. So I am seriously thinking about taking this out to the cabin and just have this be my cabin stitch. So just leave it at the cabin so I'm not tempted to stitch on it any other time except when I'm out there. And that would be super fun to stitch and finish that and leave it out at the cabin. So there we go, close up on Coastal Peaks. So that's all of my stitching. I haven't set my plans for June yet, except for starting that Freedom Rings by October Fiber House Fiber Arts. however you put all those words together, that I just showed you out of the Just Cross Stitch magazine. So I am going to let myself have a new start for that. I might take this out to the cabin and give myself a new start, and then leave this there so I always have stitching when I'm at the cabin. And then whatever my Magazine Monthly acrostic holds for me, I'll do that. And in terms of books, since I just finished this, I am going to pick up Tabby or Not. I've got to get that read by October. So I'm going to pick up this. This is by Eryn Scott. This is one of those great cozy mysteries, and I talked all about meeting her, I think on my last FlossTube. So, you know, if you're curious about that, go back an episode. And once I'm done with that, then I'm going to dive into Murder Off the Books by Tamara Berry. She's also going to be at that mystery festival that I talked about on my last video. So these are my next two reads, plus the banned book club at Page 2 Books in Burien, Washington. The June book that we're going to discuss is the Hate You Give by, I think it's Angie Thomas. So I'm going to be reading that also. So that's my reading for June for sure. Yeah, I've got at least 3 books that I've got to read for June. Oh, and then my the book club I'm in with my cousin, the hostess for June has lost her mind, and she's like, I don't know which to pick. So you guys pick, and you can either read Crying in H Mart or On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. So tons of good reading ahead. All right, that is all I have for you today. I hope that stitching is bringing you joy. I hope things are going well in your world. Also, I hope that if you haven't ever subscribed to my channel, that you would do that. I would just love to can make connections with more people in the stitching community. So subscribe. Let's have a conversation. All right, tell me what your summer plans are in the comments. Mine is hanging out with my husband and doing all the things that summer in the Pacific Northwest holds. All right, I will see you soon. Have a good couple of weeks. All right, stitch happy, my friends, and I'll see you soon. Bye.